Hi, everyone. Welcome back to Let's Talk Forex. I'm Chris, and as always, I'm joined by my colleague, Alison.
Hi, Chris. So today we're going to be talking about a topic that most traders have experienced, I'm sure, and we're going to be talking about fear of missing out or FOMO and how it affects your trading.
Hey, Alison, how are you doing today?
Good. How's it going your side, Chris?
Yeah, no, I'm good, thanks. I'm good. We did our live stream on Friday. I hope some of you live listening caught that. That was a lot of fun.
It was really good.
Yeah, thanks. A few technical errors, but I think definitely something we can build on, and something really interesting as well. Talking about Donald Trump and his tariffs, it's all getting a bit crazy out there.
It really is. We were just having a conversation about it now. Hey, Chris, it's very confusing in the markets. A lot of people are sort of stumped. The usual news trading isn't working as well as it used to, I don't think.
Yeah, a lot of things aren't working as well as they used to. Interesting times. Isn't it the Chinese curse? May you live in interesting times, or we're certainly living in them. It's quite exciting, though, even if we are cursed.
Yeah, it is exciting. It is exciting. It's a bit frustrating, but it's.
But yes, FOMO. Today we're talking about FOMO, the fear of missing out. This is a big one in trading. It's something I've dealt with. I imagine it's something you've dealt with too, Alison, and something I think probably both of us still do sometimes.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think a lot of traders, I know it's something, I've chatted to a lot of other traders about as well. They really battle with it, and they find it hard to sort of stick to their trading plan. But yeah, something we're going to talk about in this episode, indeed. Yeah, so I guess let's start at the top. For anyone that's new, I guess, how do you describe FOMO in trading?
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty simple. It's like FOMO in other parts of life, both specifically in trading. I think it's when you see, it's feeling when you see a trade take off, right? When you see a trend kick off or some other an asset that you're following starts to spike and you're not involved. And you feel like you have to jump in because you're terrified of missing out on those profits. And this is the real issue here with FOMO is that when you do trade off the back of FOMO, you're not trading on your plan. So you're going off your trading plan and you're reacting emotionally. And that's where mistakes will happen. As we've talked about many times, Alison, you get bad entries, poor risk management. Yeah, and you're just chasing a move that may have already run its course, which is really dangerous.
Absolutely. And I think it's very much tied to regret, regret that you weren't at your screen at that time and regret that you may be missing that huge trade of the week that other people, profited from. And yeah, it's just generally a bad idea.
It is. And I think like you said, I've been there, you've been there. And but there's some practical tips for dealing with FOMO. And that's what we're going to talk about today.
Yeah, and I know we were talking earlier about the different hacks for dealing with FOMO. So what is what's your FOMO hack?
Yeah, my number one hack, and to be honest, this has changed the way I view FOMO. It's changed the way I respond to it. Is when you do feel that strong urge to jump into a trade, then jump into that trade, but put on a tiny position. Like I'm talking pennies here, just something really small. And it's just enough to make you feel like you're in, but it's not going to do. You're not taking any huge risks. You're not taking any huge risks. You're not putting a huge amount of money in. If you do lose it, it's not important, but it kind of scratches that itch.
So we're talking like a micro lot, nano lot.
Yeah, exactly. Nano lot. Yeah, exactly. Something so small that if it loses, you don't care, right? It doesn't matter to you. But it's somewhere emotionally, like it ticks that box, that you haven't missed out on that trade.
Yeah, I mean, I really think that's clever. And as you say, sometimes you also just sit there and you're kind of a little bit bored and you see it going, in a certain direction and you want to jump in. But as you say, if you put a tiny amount on, at least if you lose that, I mean, it might be a bad trading practice to get in on that trade and not sort of fight that discipline. But it's better than, putting your, big lot size or big position size on there. Another thing I guess you could do is trading on demo account instead.
True, but it doesn't have that same emotional kick though, does it? It's not real money involved.
That's true.
Yeah, so you don't get the thrill. don't get the thrill of the chase. And that's the thing. FOMO is never fully goes away, right? You never get rid of it completely. And then this is a good trick, and I'm a lot better than I used to be. I'm a lot better than I used to be, and I think this is it's a really good way around it if you're struggling.
Yeah, and I think this also ties into really understanding your personality as a trader, and really understanding your patterns and how you tick, and what makes you make the decisions that you make.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's so important to know who you are as a trader, and once you do, you got to work with that, not against it. So I know that. I mean, I struggle with FOMO. So I'm happy to put a few pennies on it. And some people are naturally impatient. They love fast, short-term trades. They love scalping. Others are more patient traders. They're positional traders. And they like to wait, take the long game, and they like to get involved in swing trades. So it's really important to know who you are before you try and find a solution for dealing with the problem.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that's a absolutely critical point. As you say, if you're a day trader and you're happy to wait through the day, maybe walk away from your screen, then you've chosen the right type of trading for your personality. And as you say, if you like the fast wins, if you like the adrenaline, if you like sitting at your screen and actively trading, then of course scalping might suit you better. And the same with FOMO. If you're a person that feels the stress of missing out, you're going to have to create strategies around that.
Yeah, exactly. If you like quick wins, you don't force yourself to wait weeks. Trade the time frames that fit you. And if you've got, and if you know that you struggle with FOMO or that you struggle with other aspects of it, think about creative ways of dealing with it rather than trying to fight it.
Exactly. So I guess let me throw a controversial one out there, because a lot of people talk about trading without emotion. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, well, that's nonsense. It's absolute nonsense. Yeah, it doesn't make any sense at all. I mean, I know we talk about emotions are always going to be there, and it's not about trading without emotion. You're a human being. You're not a robot.
Yeah. And as you say, you've got to sort of work around it. So once you understand your patterns, then you've got to not allow them to dictate the way you trade. You've got to work around them, find workarounds, find strategies that, as you say, Chris, opening much smaller trade sizes, or, if people find it interesting enough, opening a demo account. But the important thing is not to allow the FOMO to dictate your trades.
Yeah, exactly. It's not about trading without emotion. It's about managing emotion, right? That's at the end of the day, we're risk managers, we're emotion managers. That sounds silly, but you get my point. You want to feel the impact of your emotions. It's really important. You don't want to turn into a senseless human being, but you do want to minimize the impact of those emotions, and finding those solutions are really important.
So I guess, on that note, if you're dealing with a losing streak, how do you handle that?
Oh, a losing streak. Yeah, I mean, honestly, I used to take it hard. I used to take that really hard. It's one of the most difficult things to deal with, I think, as a trader. You feel like a genius when you win, but when you're losing, you're the worst trader in the world. And it can really have a really negative mental and emotional impact.
Yeah, I think we've all been there, but you've really got to get some perspective on that, because everybody loses and will experience a losing streak at some point, and it's about how you dust yourself off and shake off those losses and get your head up high again, and refine your process, I guess.
Yeah, and it's also about coming into it with the right mindset. You have to think of trading as a probability. And you're not going to win every time. And it's like flipping a coin, sometimes you're going to flip a coin 10 times and it's going to come up heads every time. And, that's amazing. That's really good. But sometimes you're going to flip that coin and it's going to come up tails when you're looking for heads. And and so as long as you're aware that it's probability and you go into it with the right mindset, that it's just the odds playing out, then I think you've kind of already one step on the right path.
And another thing that people often talk about with a losing streak is taking breaks. What is your experience? Does it help you? Do you do that?
Yeah, I mean, I don't really take breaks anymore. I used to, and but now I know that as long as you're following your plan, and a losing streak is, like I said, it's just part of the odds. And I'm also much better, and this is, I think, really important, much better at being prepared for the trading day now. So I make sure I'm physically and I'm mentally healthy before I even start trading, because that way the losing streaks don't hit you so hard. You don't get emotionally caught up in those losing streaks. And if you're not emotionally caught up in the losing streak, then when it happens to you, you don't need to take a break. So it's really something. So yeah, you want to make sure that you're following your plan. You want to make sure that you're well prepared. But look, I mean, I know a lot of people do take breaks. What about you?
Yeah, no, I need to take breaks. I mean, I like the intraday trading. So in a way, I also find myself getting a little bit bored, just sitting in front of the screen. So for me, taking a break makes it a little bit easier, where I sort of just give myself that time to do other stuff. I mean, we've got a lot of other work to do. So, naturally, at least I'm involved in other things. But I really find that helps. Just to take a little bit of a break from the screen, take a break from the trading, sometimes just shut off the charts completely. And when I've got myself together again, maybe the next day even, getting back into it. And then also I find just sort of journaling that really helps me to get my mind around it and sort of just to look at the pattern. As you were saying before, the understanding that it's a game of probabilities, that you're definitely going to have the losing streaks. And particularly now, as we were talking about the markets earlier, it's pretty crazy. I mean, what's going on with the dollar is unprecedented to a degree. I mean, I saw a post by Chris Weston from Pepperstone, and he was saying that it's very sort of uncertain behavior around the dollar, and we haven't seen this for a very long time. So you've got to take all these things into account. But yeah, for me, definitely taking a break from the screens and reevaluating and calming my emotions down helps me a lot.
Yeah. And I mean, and that's the thing. It's about what you need, right? And you know what you need. You need to take a break. And that's your hack. And whatever works. I think that's the important thing, is whatever works for you.
What about over managing trades? Like moving the stops and your take profits. Sometimes I battle with that as well. Sometimes I still battle with that. Yeah. Just getting my mindset around that.
No, it's a hard one. And my solution is kind of ridiculous, but I think works for me is to just leave my phone at home and go for a walk for half an hour. So that way you can't touch anything. You're away from the screen. You can't mess with anything. You can't do anything. And it's really nerve-wracking. I'm not going to lie. I mean, it's an awful feeling. But I realize that when you do leave your trades alone, they tend to perform a lot better. And that's the proof.
Yeah.
And once you do it a few times and you realize that actually sticking with your initial plan is a better idea rather than sitting there and fiddling with stuff all the time, then you gain confidence in it.
Yeah, and you don't revenge trade after having moved your stop or your take profit.
Yeah, you don't get involved in those ridiculous holes. Yeah.
Because you messed up the trade by doing that. Yeah. Or you messed up your risk reward ratio, which over time, of course, is going to lead to very uncertain trades as well. I guess a key takeaway is that you're never going to get rid of emotions and FOMO completely, but you can manage them if you're aware of them. And then you can create a strategy around them.
Yeah, exactly. And everybody's different. I think that's what's very clear about this conversation between you and I, Alison, is we both have different ways of managing it. And whatever works for you, finding your hack is the important thing. And remember to work with the kind of person you are, with the kind of trader you are. Don't try and force yourself to be someone that you're not.
And follow somebody else's strategy. It just doesn't work. Yeah, you've really got to make it your own. Cool. I think that's a wrap for today. Thank you so much for joining me, Chris. If you guys have any questions, please don't hesitate to leave us a comment. And please remember to subscribe and like our YouTube channel.
Thanks so much, Alison. I'll speak to you next week.
Cool. Cheers, Chris.